How are you, bud? You're tired. I see. You're sleeping beauty.
I'm a little tired today. I slept kind of poorly.
Why?
And so,
Why?
well, we had Goose on the bed and she's normally very good. Like when she's there, she just lies there. But last night, she kept getting up and she kept moving. She wanted to go out and then she was scratching her ear for ages. And so I got up and like cleaned out her ears and things. And I didn't sleep very well. So I'm just feeling, a little bit precious today.
All right. Well,
I'll
go.
I'll go.
Easy
I don't
on
normally have such bags under my eyes.
you.
Do you see?
No, I don't actually see it. Wait, take your
I am
glasses off
glowing.
and just.
You
look
can't
at
see
me.
it. No, that's fine. You can't actually see it, but on the inside.
Speaking of sleep, you know what? I took. You've been recommending me shit for over 20 years, I think, and I finally
You mean just generally telling you things?
just listen to this, or you should do this,
Yeah.
or check out this show.
You might like this show, yeah.
Don't think I've ever
Not once, not a
followed
single
through
time,
on
ever.
any of those, but I did one. I bought an Acosta pillow.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Wow.
Very good.
And
Very good indeed.
okay.
Very good indeed.
Wow.
Now, just to not to give you too much credit here, although I am crediting you for this purchase. I didn't necessarily buy it because of your emphatic recommendation. I bought it because I started to search for pillows, and then I thought, what am I doing? I'm not going to look at like a bunch of pillows online. Who am I? So I was just like, I'll just get the one that Nick said. And
Wow.
turned
I
out
don't
pretty
think
good.
that's ever happened before.
Turned out pretty good. Pretty expensive for a pillow. I've
They
never bought a
are
pillow.
expensive, but I mean, all pillows tend to be more than you think that they'll be.
Yeah.
But yeah, they are not just things you find on the side of the road, sadly. I'm glad actually that you didn't tell me that you'd bought it, because I think the anxiety on my end of like, wow, the first time that Michael actually takes a recommendation of mine and now I have to wait and see what he thinks about it. I think that would have been too much for me. I'm glad that I just know after the fact where you're happy with the purchase rather than having been held through this, multi-step process.
Yeah, I mean, if I wasn't happy with it, I would have sent you an invoice, honestly.
Yeah, I know. I mean, now
I wouldn't
I'm
have
already
returned
breaking
it
out
to
into
them. I
sweats.
would have returned it to you.
Well, I would have used a second one. That's fine with me.
No,
I need
but
a leg pillow. I need
very
a knee
good.
pillow. Have you seen they got knee pillows?
Nick, I mean, no, I haven't. No, I haven't seen that they have. I
I
didn't
thought you might have
spend
browsed
two.
the website.
I don't browse. I surf.
You
if anything.
famously
I
you
surf. I surf. Why was that a thing
You're
that
just
people said
riding
about the
wherever-
internet?
Wow. I don't
Who's
know,
the,
'cause it's
who's
all-
the first guy that said, I think it's surfing the web? It's like, what?
cool
Why
person.
would it be?
a
Why,
cool person, Michael?
why isn't it skating the web? Why isn't it flying
That's an
through
interesting
the web?
question. Why isn't it luging the web?
Why-
Why are we
yeah.
not just in a
luge.
big bobsled luging the web?
Illusion through Twitter.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm sorry that you're feeling tired or whatever. I mean,
I'm glad that you're feeling rested. I mean, now that you've bought a real pillow, do you notice any difference in how you're sleeping? Did you get the cool one or just the standard one? Like, walk me through this.
I don't know what I got. I just bought literally, I don't even think I did it through the website. I think I did it through Google. I just, whatever the first one was. But I am well rested and I was excited to record the pod, obviously, because we've been off for what feels like years. But I got the pillow at basically the same time that I got my prescription weed gummies.
Melatonin. Okay, weed gum.
Yeah. So they came at the same time.
was it
Essentially,
CBD oil.
Well, get this. So I went through. So I told the story of having the CBD oil over Christmas from my brother-in-law,
Yeah.
and it worked when I couldn't sleep. So he said, make an appointment through Alternaleaf. First of all, their GP online. It's an online GP that you see, right? So they're usually $29, but over the Christmas period, they've got a sale on doctor consults. I am not kidding. They're now $8. I'm not. They've slashed the prices.
That's so wild.
Amazing. Get in quick before the sale ends on GP visits for edibles. Anyway, so I capitalized on that.
The Boxing Day sales are crazy.
Black Friday can't last forever, folks. So I made that appointment. The guy, the guy, look, he didn't seem or sound like a real doctor. You have a telehealth appointment. I got on there and he initially accepted the call with his camera off. And I was like, that's weird. And then he obviously saw that my camera was on because he started talking, then eventually flicked his camera on. And I was like, whoa, like there's like a treadmill in the background. There was a weird shit in the background that I couldn't really focus on. Thankfully, it only lasted 45 seconds because he got all of what he needed to know. So I went in there and I was just honest. I was like, I've trialed CBD oil and that works. And he was like, I would recommend the gummies instead if it's for insomnia. And I was like, okay. I've had a weed gummy before and I almost wanted to jump off a balcony in Thailand, but sure, hit me up. And these ones have actual THC in them as well. So
I was going to say, is it different, to the Thailand version you had, or is it actually CBD plus the THC?
Yeah, it's CBD plus the THC. He said it wasn't psychoactive, but then I scanned the title and the dosage, put it into Reddit, and they were like, people are saying, if you take 2, you'll feel really, really stoned. I'm like, what the fuck? You said... and
so
honestly,
this is just an insomnia thing. To be honest, look, I don't want to cast aspersions on the good people over at, GP Leaf or whatever it was. Alternative. I have a feeling that they expect perhaps that many of their clients are contacting them for their services, perhaps looking for more of a marijuana experience.
Totally got that vibe. I totally got that vibe. Like, I honestly feel like, because I'm not a weed guy. I don't like the feeling of feeling stoned. Never have.
Yeah.
And I did kind of get the feeling that when I was describing my insomnia and telling him that I just want the CBD, he was like, I'm reading between the lines, buddy. Don't worry.
I got you loud and clear.
And I feel like he might have prescribed something that he thought that I wanted. Yeah, which I didn't. I'm like, I'm a nice boy.
And he's like, gotcha, loud and clear.
No,
what I'm saying is I want only CBD.
Yeah.
Absolutely, mate. Don't you even worry about it.
Yeah.
Like, no, this is truly all that I need.
Please don't get me stoned. Please. I think you want a little psilocybin, maybe,
something on
just
the
to
edge.
take the edge off. I mean, that it's creating the edge.
And
the worst part was, I've got a pretty good GP that I like now, who's kind of handled he's now got control of my ADHD stuff, which was kind of new for him. So he's been kind of good through that whole process. And in order to get this GP consult with Alternaleaf, $8 GP visits, $8 everyone.
Still on sale.
Deep Fort. If you enter Deep Fort in the promo section, you'll get a further.
It actually becomes more expensive.
Yeah, you'll get $4.
They've already discounted too much. So this actually undoes the Boxing Day sale.
You know what? I would rather pay. One of the things in life that I do want to pay for a bit more is a GP visit.
It's medical advice, yeah.
But I had to, in order to get this consult, I had to get a letter from my GP saying basically that I had seen him before about the insomnia and, about my list of medications and stuff. And I just know that he was like, what are you doing? Like, Alternaleaf. I mean, he did it, but...
So could your GP not have prescribed this? Do you need to be a special kind of doctor to be able to give CBD oil?
Look, I'm not sure. I think you do need to be a special kind of doctor, but honestly, it's a whole racket because you can only buy the prescription through Alternaleaf. So it's honestly probably a pyramid scheme of some description. because I can't.
Right, so they might
won't
have
give
like
me
an
my
exclusive.
prescription.
Yeah, they might have an exclusive government license to be distributing this product or something like that. Yeah, gotcha.
Maybe they do.
Well, whether or not it's your weed gummies or a brand new pillow, I'm glad that you are sleeping like a baby.
Yeah, I'm glad you're not. I know, I didn't mean. I don't know why I said that. I'm sorry, you're not.
Okay, thank you very much. Welcome to Deep Thought, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I can feel my second coffee kicking in because I can no longer see or sense my fingers. This is a podcast in which we talk about the things that matter and some of the things that don't. Sitting through the internet with me, my friend, who I just saw last week in person in Melbourne, Michael. How are we doing?
You sure did. You sure did. Very true.
And my name's Nick. Thank you very much for having me. Hello.
Now, I mean, let's just talk about you. You came to visit last week. It was great to see you. Great to see the boy.
It was.
Tell us about your sister's wedding. I've heard it already, but I'll go make myself a drink. And won't you tell the Deep Thought faithful?
Okay. It's been 11 minutes and you're ready to clock out. I did. We went over for my sister's wedding last week in Melbourne, which was lovely. The only asterisk on that was it was a extraordinarily hot day in Melbourne. It was 44, 45 odd degrees. And it was an outside Botanic Gardens wedding, and we were also in black tie. So there was a lot of anxiety floating around in the lead up to the day about what do we do, what can we, it's just dumb luck. You can't control it. If it was the day before, it was 25. If it was the day after, it was 25. But that Friday was 45 degrees. That, I think was the cause of some stress. They did delay the start of the wedding, pushed it later into the night. And they also moved the ceremony from outside on the lawns, which would have had absolutely no shade. They brought it into the reception area, which was also at the Botanic Gardens, but was indoors. And that helped. They had some big fans and things. But, yeah, I mean, of all the luck, it was just such a hot day. But thankfully, a cool breeze started to come in about like 7 or 8 p.m. And so once the ceremony was over and dinner and stuff was starting, it just got back down into like manageable levels again. And then, by that point, everyone's got the jackets off anyway. And, they're having a drink. And it was good. It was a nice night. But, yeah, I think it was the cause of some anxiety in the lead up.
And you sent your sister a very supportive message a few days before, just reminding her of the weather. Do you want to say what you said to your sister? That lovely message that you said.
Perhaps in retrospect, there was a more tactful way to approach the conversation, but I did send a picture of the forecast when I saw it for the first time and said, "What the fuck? Did you not pay for the climate control package?" Which,
that's funny.
Just a little joke. Just a little joke. I mean, I know obviously you can't control this, but the response that I got back was, "I'm extremely stressed. Please don't." And I think that's also fair. I think that's also fair.
I think it's fair. I think it's fair both ways. I mean, when you sent me that screenshot, I nearly had a hernia. It was so
glad
funny.
you enjoyed it.
I very much enjoyed it. Would I say that to my sister? Probably not.
You probably would.
Yeah, sisters can be,
Yeah,
furious.
I mean, the bride before the wedding day probably has a few other things on the mind and doesn't need silly jokes, but that's, what are brothers for?
Ironically, all I wanted was people to tell me jokes so I could take my mind off stuff. Now, Georgie's wedding was quite close to where we got married.
It was, yeah.
You don't have to answer this, but whose wedding was better?
Oh, hers was.
Edit that out. All right. Well, it was nice to see you. You got to see my house. You guys came around.
I did. It was a little bit touch and go whether or not we'd actually get to hang out because we were only there for 3 days, and being part of the like the family of the bride, there was risk of, other commitments perhaps preventing us catching up. But we did manage to go grab some lunch, which was really nice. And then popped around and saw the house properly and met Pepsi properly. And yeah. How do you think the meeting went between wife and boyfriend?
Between my wife and your boyfriend, or my boyfriend and your wife?
My wife and your boyfriend, yeah.
Look, I think
they have met before, but yes.
I don't know if this is a leading question, but honestly, I feel. I mean, look, the first time I met Casey, I made something of a aggressive impression, so I was conscious of that. And Casey's I mean, I think I've only met him twice, but he's a tough nut to crack. But I like people like that because he doesn't say a lot, but when he does say stuff, I mean, I won't repeat what he said when we left, but he had basically said like not a whole lot the whole day, and then just came out with the funniest thing I've heard in ages. But look,
it is unfortunately not podcast safe, but yes.
Just message me, I'll tell you. But I feel like he liked Lauren a lot more than me, because I think Lauren's a bit less in your face, maybe.
I thought that you got along quite well. I mean, I think it's I think maybe the third time that you've met now, and I think with each successive meeting you've just relaxed a little bit more, and I think that was easier. But I felt like everyone was getting along, but it was funny watching the difference between you and I, who've known each other for 20 years, having, just one of our classic hangouts, just comfortable, and then both partners who have met each other twice probably sat next to us while we drivel on with our bullshit.
It's hard to know how to navigate that sort of dynamic because I think we do a pretty good job of like not that specific. Well, that specific
not too
example,
insular,
but like, yeah. We're both socially aware enough to know that we can't hog a conversation, which is probably what would be easiest. But then I also feel like, Lauren and potentially Casey, they're both kind of people that want a conversation to be dominated more than having to think of stuff to say themselves. So
possibly, yeah. I mean, Casey was sort of pretty socialed out by that point because that was the third day of wedding stuff.
And I was very conscious of that because I wanted to. I mean, I had recently gone through a social crash out myself over the Christmas period, and I know that I want you to come see my house after we had lunch, but I mean, I imagine if I was in Casey's position, he doesn't drink. Really, just the idea of coming to someone's house that you don't really know, just sitting there and like, he was a very good sport about it, but I didn't want him to just. I was very conscious of like this can't be fun for him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he had a bad time. I mean, the other thing was, this sounds like a backhanded compliment, but I mean it not. We were basically just killing time. We were leaving that night. We had nowhere else to be. We had done all the, shopping and touring or, commitments that we had. And so basically we were just waiting till 6 o'clock for the airport for the flight. So just being in someone's house and getting to sit down for a bit and just chill, like that's pretty good in terms of options.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think he was unhappy with that, but it is, it's an interesting dynamic.
It was just a kind of a tough time of the day to hang out, like 2 to 3, you can't really have a drink. It's kind of the sun's glaring. You guys
you sat directly in the sun,
and I got
immediately burnt.
My nose was peeling for like 3 days after. But I got a nice tan out of it. It's like, and I hate this like this fear. This it's when you're in between stages, like you were needing to go to the airport. and that's kind of looming, right? And you need to kind of work out how much time do we need to get back to the hotel. So it's kind of so you can't settle in. And I have the same thing when I'm like, I see someone that I know on the street, for example, and you're both we can't get into anything. So I don't know what
you would like if we were, out to dinner, we could talk for an hour, but you and I are both going in different directions, and we're going to linger on the street to acknowledge that we know each other, but you're not going to have a catch up.
I'd rather just not do it. I'm not saying that I'm glad that you guys came over, but it was just awkward.
Yeah.
You were saying that you made a faux pas.
Well, not a faux pas. I just so I knew that you were going to be really in your head about meeting KC again. And I watched as you two interacted, and there was kind of like a fumble of a handshake into a hug, which was fine. It was.
I considered kissing him on the lips, honestly.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you considered it at the very least. But then after that, Lauren came up, and I thought it would be funny to do exactly what just happened between you and Casey. So I went up and I went to give her a handshake and then pulled it away and then went in for an awkward hug. Just doing a bit, basically. And she was like, oh, why is Nick being so weird? This is not, why did we've met before. This is unnecessary. Yeah. But I don't think it really landed as a parody of what you had just done.
No, anyway. I mean, look, to be honest, a lot of jokes go over her head. And I think that might be a step too far.
It's generous to call that a joke, but thank you.
All right, so I've got a lot on my list that I want to get through.
Please.
Including a new segment.
But
I got a couple of anecdotes for you first.
I'd love that.
All right, number one, got a speeding fine the other day.
Oh.
46 in a 40 zone.
Oh, that's not too bad.
I know. I thought they didn't give out speeding fines for 6 kilometers. I thought the grace window was a lot wider than that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it depends on the person, maybe. How much was it?
Like $280.
280 for 6Ks over.
Get this. It was 9:18 in the morning. I was dropping Pepsi to the dog groomers. It's on a 4-lane highway, right?
Uh-huh.
So 4-lane highway, that's usually 80 kilometers per hour. And then on school days, it drops to 40 between 8:30 and 9:30. Yeah. So I was 12 minutes short. But I mean, I didn't even register. What are you doing dropping a 4-lane highway down to 40?
That's odd. Yeah.
I mean, I went because you can get the photo and everything, and I went on Google Street View to see if I could, nitpick and see, maybe there's a tree covering the sign.
There was anything, yeah.
Look, it's clear signage, but this is the thing. This is the real salt in the wound for me, because when they sent it, right, 46 in a 40 zone, okay, sure, sorry, but I'm not really hooning, right? As part of the fine.
No, it's not like you're going 80 in a 40 zone. Yeah.
No, So as part of the fine that they send you, they also send you this, what I think is a very passive-aggressive letter
okay.
from a survivor of a car crash, right?
What?
And it reads this: Dear driver, you're seeing this because you've received a fine for a driving infringement. Probably a bit annoying from your end, but what you have done could have completely changed someone's life or ended it. 46 in a 40 zone. I came as close to death as you can get. Hit by a car as the driver ran a red light because he was on the phone. I live in country Victoria now, and I regularly see drivers texting or on the phone, and I always wonder what is so important that it's worth destroying someone's life. It's deeply selfish, blah, blah, blah. I want to tell you more about my story. Please scan this QR code at the end of the letter. You now have the chance to learn from this fine and change your behavior at the very least. Sincerely, Claire, road trauma survivor.
Wow.
Fuck
that
off.
Is so passive aggressive.
Isn't it?
Wow, that feels on. I mean,
that makes me want to text in speed, honestly.
It's one of those things, right? I remember, this is going back many years ago, but when I was studying law, we did a semester of criminology, right? And we were talking about the ways that people tried to disincentivize murder, right? By life imprisonment or the capital punishment or that kind of thing. And there was all these studies about, well, actually, most murders are either premeditated or impulsive. And if it's premeditated, then the person who committed it has already decided that they're going to get away with it, or that they want to do the thing anyway, and they've considered the consequences and discarded it. And if it is a spur of the moment impulse, well, they're not thinking rationally. They're not thinking about the consequences. They're just acting out of
crime of passion,
instinct, or a crime of passion, right? And so in either direction, the kind of disincentive that comes from like really long punishments or those kind of things, it basically doesn't have any impact on the results. And that's borne out in the studies of the kind of punishments in various regions versus the number of offences that are committed, that kind of stuff. And when I hear those kind of letters that come from for something like speeding, my brain goes to the same thing of like, is this really actually going to have a measurable change in someone's behaviour? Because all of us know that people die in car accidents. People know that they are doing something wrong when they're speeding. And people discard that information for whatever reason. Either it is an incidental thing where they're not paying attention and they're going above the speed limit, or they miss the sign or something like that, in which case a disincentive or, the moral consequences of the letter are irrelevant because you're not considering it. Or you have considered it and you've chosen to speed anyway because you don't care. So again, I look at that and I'm like, this is not actually going to be an effective way to change people's behavior.
No, it's like the packaging on cigarettes. I guess it's like you kind of get desensitized to it after a while. It's like have you really thought about the psychology of what makes people stop? I mean, I think there are some effective commercials. When they start to get
visual
really
ad, like
graphic,
some of those ones are. Yeah.
They work, or trying to find
because they hit an emotion, right? They trigger a disgust or a repulsion or a guilt or something. They're working at a more animal level. But reading a letter about like, I see people using their phones at the stoplights, and I just think, oh, what an asshole. It's like, well, that's not going to win someone over, is it?
No, I mean, it created an emotion, but it was rage in me.
Yeah.
It was also, by the way, printed in Comic Sans italics. That's the whole letter.
What?
Comic
Sans?
Comic Sans italics, the whole letter, which is just double annoying.
That's so strange. That's so strange.
I mean, at the very least, if you're going to put those letters in, like, don't just include it with every single letter. Like, hit if someone's speeding gets a fine for 20 Ks over, or specifically, like, have a threshold. Don't just give it to little old me who's just, drunk driving at 9:18 in the morning.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. They should actually consider combining the two things we've talked about. If you got your speeding fine and it's $280, I mean, that's a disincentive because that's fucking expensive. But if you open that thing and out pops two colored images of like surgeries, of people's fucked up faces, of car accidents, in the same way that you put, a cigarette box, the gross consequences of speeding. If you put photos of car accident victims in your fine, I think people would be like, oh fuck, like, yeah, geez, like that would actually have a response.
You know what would be really effective? If you get a speeding fine and as part of the fine they send you a letter and they say, we've signed you up, we've created an account for you on X, and you have to log in twice a week in order to not get your demerit points doubled. And it won't be directing you to any specific thing. It'll just be an X feed, and you'll just see all that stuff anyway.
Yeah. You'll get some kind of graphic violence daily, and as for what, luck of the draw.
When I first got my license, I was on my P's, and if you remember, you get 4 demerit points, and then you lose your license if you do. And as soon as I got my P's, I started driving around without my seatbelt because I wanted to be free, man. And I got pulled over very quickly after that phase.
Yeah.
During that
Yeah.
phase. And then shortly thereafter, I got a stop sign. I crawled over a stop sign. So that was my 4 demerit point. So I lost my license for 6 months. And as part of losing that license, you had to go to a driver intervention program, right? And this is in Adelaide. And I remember I had to go to 2 of these sessions, and seatbelt and stop sign just for me in driving in the leafy suburbs of Adelaide. That's one thing. But the types of people that are in these driver intervention programs vary wildly from guys like me to guys who have, been hooning and doing donuts and speeding away from police. And the counsellor is
driving and
the counsellor is treating everyone in the same level because it's an hour and a half session. So you have to go around the room. Hello, I'm Michael and I'm a dangerous driver. All right, everyone say, what's the fastest you've ever gone in a car? And people are like, 200, 180. And I'm like, I don't know, 161 on the freeway, maybe a creep. I don't know. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it is. I mean, look, I'm not here to discard the human costs of speeding. I mean, this is bringing us back actually to what we were talking about a couple of pods ago, which is the idea that all cars' speeds should be remotely limited in the same way that, a Lime scooter can only go up to a certain speed or whatever. And I think there's an argument to be made there in your case that if your car had been remotely controlled and when you hit that 40 zone, it slowed it to 40, that actually benefits everyone, right? But the idea that this is still a problem that society has been tackling for 20, 30 years, and I think most of the reduction in harm on the roads has come from car design and perhaps street design more than it has come from behavior changes. It's quite a difficult psychological problem to solve, and I'm not surprised they're trying different things, but this doesn't seem like the way that's you're going to solve it. I think it is going to have to be like, well, now your car just can't go past 40. So,
I mean,
problem solved.
I mean, yeah, that would work. I mean, they have a minimum. I mean, if you get caught drinking and driving over 0.05, even if you're 0.051 in Victoria, you have to get an interlock device and start your car that way. Anyway, I just wanted to whinge about that. So, secondly, I just wanted to say that this is the worst time to be at the gym.
That's true.
I've been taking I'm finally feeling better after, almost a year of like slow recovery from this thoracic outlet syndrome. And so I'm getting some real momentum back in the gym again, going 5-6 times a week again, which is, it's
5 or 6 times a week. Jeez.
I really want to get after it. Because I was feeling kind of shit about my body. Like I wasn't like,
you're recovering from an illness though.
I know, but I don't want to give I don't like giving myself excuses, even though I did. I can't, maybe I milked it a little bit, but like I'm just doing a lot of the time in the gym over the last, 9 to 12 months has been exercises that are more about, kind of building those muscles back. So
structural,
and you're not getting any pump on. So there's no vanity, and if there's no vanity in it, there's no reward, which means there's no incentive to go back to the gym. But I've been probably getting back into it. But worst time to go to the gym is in the first month of January.
First couple of weeks, yeah.
So I feel like it's starting to thin out now. But like every fucking loser and his dog is just on the people who I know that they've made New Year's resolutions. They don't want to be there. They're not going to stick with it. And the reason I know this is because they sit on machines on their phone for 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah. It is true. I mean, it is that time of year. Thankfully, over here, at least, because my gym is part of a chain, I think you see a little bit less random signups or like trial weeks. They tend to be like, if you've paid for a subscription, I think you're sort of committing a little bit more.
Right.
But there was definitely a bunch of new faces, and it's hard to tell sometimes if those are just people who are on holiday already with memberships who are coming, but just at a different time than I would normally see them when I'm at the gym, or if they are actually like new recruits. And, more power to them. Everyone starts at some point and you got to have a crack at it. But, the influx where you are like bumping elbows with people trying to get to a machine, or, as you say, they're just sitting on it and hogging it for 30 minutes. It's a little bit frustrating.
It's infuriating. It's like, I just see these guys that like are there. That I just feel like they want to like tell their wife that they went to the gym, so they don't really want to go, so they physically go to the gym, and maybe they'll pop into Macca's on the way home, listen to a podcast, just to kill some more time. But like, all the side note, by the way, not really relevant and no judgment, but 3 guys in the gym the other day had these like really like sculpted eyebrows. I don't know if you've seen these like really cosmetic, like quite feminine,
like
nothing wrong with
beautiful
that.
eyebrows.
Yeah, I wouldn't. It was too much, and
You're a little jealous.
They looked freshly done, and they weren't friends or lovers.
So men aren't allowed to look beautiful now. Is that what you're saying, Michael?
No, it's not beautiful. I mean, it's just incredible. Maybe it is a bit sexist of me, but it's like that. It's that real. And I don't even think they were gay men. They were just like, they look like 3
days. You can just pick a gay man at a glance, can you, Michael?
I can smell them before I see them.
That's because they are wearing like a very expensive cologne.
No, they usually smell like barbecue sauce for some reason. But yeah, like they look like Elizabeth Taylor, and I was like, I mean, okay, it's not relevant.
A lot of going to the gym is about how you look, so I get it. You want to be at your best. I want to circle back to the thoracic outlet. So is that now resolved for you? You're feeling, so what the original symptoms were, a sort of like a numbness and stuff in the shoulders, or what was it presenting as?
It was presenting as I couldn't lift my arm. If you're doing a front shoulder raise, for example, I could not do that movement. And there was numbness in the morning. So this, the traps here, basically what happened is the tendon where the traps go down to the shoulder spasmed out and then just kind of collapsed.
Yeah, right.
And so I think I showed you a photo once maybe of, I actually had on my left side, quite a well-defined trap. And then on the other one, it was like a cavity.
Yeah, right.
So I've just been trying to build that up, and I haven't gone back to the physiotherapist, but it feels better. Like it feels better.
And you feel like you're able to go back and actually put weight on it and strength at the gym and everything?
In the last 2 weeks for the first time, and
awesome.
I'm
glad to hear it. Like one of my other friends had.
I remember that. Jude
TOS and was. No, Erica has it.
Erica.
And she'd been struggling with some neck stuff. So, I'm glad to hear that it's got better. And in fact, George, my sister, she also picked up a diagnosis of that as well, because she was having numb fingers overnight. So it seems like it's going around.
Epidemic.
Like, I don't know if an epidemic. Maybe it's like desk posture or something. Maybe you could have saved it with an Ecosa pillow, available now. Code DEEPFORT at ecosa.com.au.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I said this on the podcast, but I got this injury having sex, baby. So
you were trying to lift your hand up.
I don't know if an
head.
Ecosa can save how I fuck.
A virile man like you, yes.
Now, speaking of which, I got to... Oh, no. I'll let you say something.
Can I just have one more shout out? Because our friend Ben, who listens to the pod, just yesterday went to the gym for the first time. There was a referral voucher that my trainer had given out, and I gave it to Ben. And Ben went along to the gym, and he had his first trial session and consult with my trainer. And I wanted to shout them out because it was exciting, and he had a good time.
So Ben's part of the problem.
No, he's not. Ben's
Yeah.
part of the solution because he's committing and he's gonna see changes and it's gonna be great.
Well, this is going to be fun because we're going to do a check-in on Ben every single
No.
episode to make
This was
sure
not the outcome that I
it's
wanted.
accountability,
Ben,
Benjamin.
this is not commitment.
It's
this
accountability.
Is fine. You can do whatever feels good to you.
We're kind of personal trainers in a way as well.
We are. We're your motivation. Michael is the negative demon on your shoulder, and I am the positive angel on your shoulder.
Yeah. And
you got this. You can do it.
you're a piece of shit, Ben. No, sorry, I don't know.
No.
I don't know. It would work on me. I don't know. It would work on me.
It would work on you.
Now, did you get 50% off or something from this referral, Nick?
No, I didn't. It was just he my trainer had the idea to offer existing clients, friends, a consult. So I passed it on to Ben.
Well, your trainer actually is one of the few people that actually consistently like our posts on Instagram. So
It's true.
I appreciate it.
He has listened to the
Hamish.
pod in the past. Yeah, Hamish.
Now, quick ethical dilemma for you, and I got to keep my voice down here.
Please.
This is a fun one. So,
Okay. Oh, this is perhaps not as much a hypothetical as it is a real situation.
well, it's kind of a funny ethical dilemma.
Okay.
So Lauren, who is my wife, and I text with quite frequently. So I think it's probably about 2 months ago, she must have done a software update on her phone or reset her phone, and then whatever she did, her read receipts turned on.
Okay.
Right. So when I sent her a message, I could see
Read receipt. Yeah.
when she'd read it. And I haven't told her because it's useful to know when she's reading my messages. And I
But
don't
why
think
do you
she
think
knows.
she doesn't know? Why do you think she doesn't?
Because she's not a great texter. It's been a conversation in our relationship in the past. You know, her lack of texting communication, not great. So, and I know her pretty well. I think there's no way she would have turned this on. So my question to you is it unethical of me to not tell her?
Well, what are you using this information for?
Well, I mean, this is the part that doesn't look great on me. It's just passive aggressiveness that, I've just got it in my back pocket, I just,
Okay, so you've just accumulated a point and you're working out when you can spend it.
yeah. And it's accruing compound interest, socially speaking. So when it comes out in 9 months, it's going to really do some damage. You know what? Forget I said anything. I think I thought this would come
You've
off
answered
funny,
your own
and
question.
I think I might be a dick. Still not going to tell her.
This is a great segment because I really haven't had to say anything at all.
Yeah, it's just you're just like a therapist. You just let me
I'm
talk.
just hearing it aloud now. I'm just
Like,
hearing it aloud and I do hear it.
Okay, so I'm just tying a noose for myself. All right.
Yeah.
I do just want to touch on this Trump Greenland stuff because
Yeah.
I read, I think it was an interview with the New York Times that he did the other day. You probably saw it. It made big news. I've stepped away a little bit just in the past week or two with my travel and then catching up on work this week. So I saw it and I know what you're referring to, but I've sort of consciously given myself a break from following Trump in close detail. Well, let me suck you back in. So, I mean, I think everyone would probably know to some degree that Trump has kind of put the feelers out previously about taking over Greenland, and
Putting the feelers out is such a wild way to make that statement.
But this is what he
It's not
does.
like a fucking Facebook marketplace thing where it's like, is this bike still available? I'm just
Nick.
putting out feelers. Can I take Greenland off your hands?
let me finish. Let me finish. This is what he does. He presents things initially as a joke or something at least he could pass off as a joke. He did the same thing with Venezuela. He sets pretext for things, puts the feelers out, see how people respond, and then all of a sudden in a week, like with this Greenland thing, it's not a joke and Greenland and Germany and Sweden are all sending their troops to Greenland to protect it, right? So
Yeah.
I think he
Yeah.
does put feelers out.
Yeah.
And he did an interview with the New York Times the other day, and I'll just read a little bit of it. So he's during a 2-hour sit-down interview with the Times on January 7th. Trump was questioned about why he won't just send American troops to Greenland, which is legal under a Cold War era agreement. If his goal is to fend off foreign threats, the president replied by saying that he won't feel comfortable until he owns the island. Why is ownership important here? The reporter asked. Because that's what I feel is psychologically needed for success, Trump replied. I think that ownership gives you a thing that you can't do, whether you're talking about a lease or a treaty. Ownership gives you things and elements that you just can't get from signing a document that you can have a base. The White House correspondent, Katie Rogers, who is the one that Trump called ugly both inside and out recently, chimed in and asked, psychologically important to you or to the United States? And Trump replied, psychologically important for me. Now, maybe another president would feel differently, but so far I've been right about everything. So,
God.
So why I'm interested in this, Nick, to talk with you about this is because we love a map on this show. We love a map. We've talked about maps on the show. We've talked about the Mercator projection, right? Which is where, disproportionates, that's not a word.
I was going to let you go with it, but you interrupted yourself.
Yeah. It makes certain countries, especially near the top and bottom end, Greenland included, Russia
distorts
included.
The size.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, Trump is clearly looking at this map, which is quite close to the United States, I guess, on a map. But he's looking at it and seeing this. It's quite big on the Mercator map, or without the Mercator. I don't know what that is. Yeah.
So just to state it plainly, because you're taking a 3D globe and transposing it into a 2D map, that requires distortion of the shapes, and the Mercator projection is one way to map a globe onto a flat 2D rectangle. And as a result of that, Greenland, which is very north and high up on the poles, gets extremely distorted and looks a lot bigger on the map than it is in real life. And the very real hypothesis of people is that, because Trump has said, it's so big, we need to have it, it's so big.
Yeah.
The very real interpretation of that is that Trump doesn't understand that Greenland is actually not as big as Africa and it is a small point on this map, but is looking at it and thinking, well, I want the big thing, and is explicitly directing foreign policy off a fundamental misunderstanding of how globes work.
Which it's just so classic. It's so
he's just so fucking dumb.
So Trump.
It's so basic bitch thing where you're like, how did we end up with a president like that who's just so thick in so many tedious, mundane ways?
Honestly, we should expect this from Trump. The real sad part of this whole thing is the goonies and the cronies around him who know better and are pretending that they don't. That's the sad thing. Rubio can go fuck himself, honestly. That guy, he's not a dumb guy. I think he's got some involvement in this Greenland thing. He's he's certainly got involvement in the Venezuela invasion and the fall of Cuba.
Yeah.
So he's got that imperialist kind of energy, but he's not a dumb guy. And we've seen Rubio question his own morality in real time, sitting next to the president. So I think that's the real sad thing. Trump's just going, big and shiny thing, give to me. He accepted the Nobel Peace Prize yesterday. You've got
not from Nobel Society, from the president of Venezuela, right?
Like, he kept it.
Yeah.
Good for Machado for shooting her shot because she's like, well, this could, get me in power.
Yeah.
So I don't blame her for exploiting that. But I mean, the patheticness is off the charts with this guy. I mean, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to put it up on the wall and tell people that's my Nobel Peace Prize? I guess so.
I mean, he's an authoritarian, right? And he gets off on the subservience of the people around him, right? So it's a trophy in the way that everything that comes to him is a trophy. Because again, the thing of like, I'm owning Greenland, psychologically it's good for me. There's a king now. Trump is not acting for the benefits of America, the state. He's acting for the benefits of himself. And it's also plain and obvious.
Yeah.
And, that's why I don't feel sad for Rubio having to lick the boots of this guy, because it's a choice that he's made.
Absolutely.
Have some
it's a
fucking
choice.
spine.
By the way,
I'm not going to feel sad for you, like, humiliating yourself. You're going to be kicked to the curb at some point in the same way, Marjorie Taylor Greene and the millions of other, lackeys that have come before you have. Fuck you. Just have some fucking spine and stand up for what you swore an oath to.
There's no spine. I mean, by the way, this is like Rubio and there's a bunch of like Lindsey Graham during the debates. I mean, Trump was going after their wives and shit, and yet they're still like, all right, just suck it up. For like, no, like history is not going to look favorably on this.
Yeah.
I
mean, it's just so obvious. I don't know.
It's so obvious.
And meanwhile, again, we're just repeating old talking points, but the lack of any spine from the Democratic leaders to actually come out and say, this is fucked up. I mean, I saw AOC come out recently and say that they've increased your Medicare bills to pay for a
ICE.
paramilitary force,
Yeah.
And that's a very powerful, succinct, and true message, and that's the kind of clear speaking that you just don't see coming. Another fucking letter of concern is not going to do shit. It literally, it's like a fucking ant, crawling around by, a giant's foot. It doesn't even register. Trump is never going to be swayed by Democratic, motions of concern, because it's never had any consequence.
No. Chuck Schumer.
So the only thing that kind of inaction does is infuriate the left-leaning base, or indeed even the centrist base, who just wants some degree of normalcy, back to life. So you don't have to think about being like kidnapped off the streets anymore or shot in the face point blank.
Yeah.
It's so much worse than I thought it was going to be 1 year in.
Totally. Just on what you said about Trump wanting the prize, he's also got to hang up. I mean, he keeps bringing up Biden. He's got a fixation on Biden. Why? Because Biden beat him in the 2020 election. And this Nobel Peace Prize, I was listening to the Bulwark, and they were talking about this, which is quite interesting. He's got to hang up on Obama because Obama got a Nobel Peace Prize in his first year in office. And he's thinking, he's comparing himself, because this is a guy who's, you say whatever you want about his real estate, but he's gotten very close to the top. He's done a lot of things. I know he's people say he's a bad businessman, really, but he's gotten to where he is, and he's now the president. And now, even the way he sits in his chair in the White House and everyone stands around him, he loves that. I'm the one sitting, everyone's listening to me. And at that point, you're like, well,
he's just a pure narcissist, right?
Exactly. I've become the president. What else? Yeah. Nobel Peace Prize. What else? Like, what else will there be after this?
Give me a trophy. Give me a medal. Give me a bloody glass plaque from Apple.
Yeah. I mean,
so
the FIFA Peace Prize.
Yeah.
And just on the Rogan, I don't know, you probably didn't see this if you were kind of offline, but Rogan was talking about the Minnesota shooting of
the occupation of ICE and
of Renee Good, and the tide seems to be turning with these podcast bros, and I know not you shouldn't be listening to them as a gauge of society, but they are a good barometer of where certain political factions are swaying. And Rogan came out and was like, she didn't try to kill him. He just said all the things. So, he should get credit for that, because it's not necessarily a safe space for him to do that.
No, I mean, it would have been nice if he hadn't fucking endorsed Donald Trump for president.
It would have been nice.
But hey, at least the next best thing is to recognize that there were perhaps problems with that, and there are problems now, and to pretend that there aren't is disingenuous. So well, I guess I slight credit for him to come out with that kind of commentary.
I agree, but I think in this day and age, it's I think people's instinct is to, if they feel like they got something wrong, is to double down. And I think even with a big platform like he does, I think it's great that he is saying, I mean, he's not saying I got it wrong. And also,
well, that's what I was going to say. I don't think that he came out and said, I wish I hadn't endorsed Donald Trump, right? But at least speaking,
he's saying it's crazy
with clear eyes about the state of what's going on.
It was actually. So I'm just going to remember which episode this was, because I listened to the whole thing. It was with Rand Paul, right? Who, don't love the guy, but as far as Republicans go, he's gone against the grain a couple of times and at least shown some backbone. And I feel like Rand Paul does have some moral conviction of his own. And it was quite funny because they were talking about this Minnesota fraud situation that Tim Walz is now not running again on the back of. There's a little bit of a there with the Minnesota fraud. I'm not sure if you know much about it, but it looks like it's been completely blown out of proportion, almost exclusively tied back to this kind of MAGA YouTube journalist, very young kid, 22 years old, who's going on about Somali kindergartens or whatever. Anyway, Rand Paul and Joe Rogan were talking about this Minnesota fraud's crazy, and they're like, well, let's get the stats on this. And they're typing. They're sponsored by Perplexity, which is what that is, right? It's like a new AI.
It's like a news,
So they're going, Jamie. He's going, Jamie. Type ask Perplexity what the deal is with the Minnesota state fraud stuff is. And Jamie reads back, there is no real evidence to, blah, blah, blah. They do this about 3 or 4 times with stuff that they think is right. And their own sponsored AI is telling them this is not true.
It's not true.
And they're still doing this mental gymnastics. No, I think I saw, I'm like, dude, it's right there in front of you, Yeah.
I mean, it's for everyone. It's very hard to avoid confirmation bias, right? When presented with information that contradicts a worldview. We all struggle with it. So I'm not surprised that in real time they were unable to, or, struggling to take that information and reconcile it with what they thought the state of the world was. Yeah. But it is funny that their sponsored product that they were trying to integrate into the show was the mechanism by which they were being disproven in real time. Yeah. That's quite funny.
Yeah, I mean, look, it is hard. It is hard to detach yourself from that kind of ideology, and it exists both on the left and the right, and it is very difficult. I think I'm quite good at it. Like, honestly, I think I'm getting better at it, and I think that is because I have done this separation of myself in my head of not thinking of myself as left or right, and almost thinking of myself as, I'm independent. I'm independent, and I don't know, maybe that's its own form of ideology. But I think I'm quite good at not just, going along with, whatever party line is saying.
I think that one of my assets is. Comes from years of being quite an online nerd, which is a degree of skepticism about the stuff on the internet, right? When you were on like PHP forums, back in the early thousands, or, early days of Twitter and that kind of stuff. We were all ingrained in a culture of, Photoshops and random trash, and you couldn't inherently trust the internet. We were all just kind of individuals out there, and anyone could put shit up on the internet. And as part of, being a gamer or being a nerd, you built like a facility for detecting bullshit, like the whiff of truth. And I think in this age, particularly now that we've entered this AI slop era where the text you read could be made up by a machine and not based in anything, and the photos you look at could be faked by something or augmented by something, and the news articles that you read can be, summarized wrongly or spat out from like a non-independent source or whatever it is. And I think having grown up and understood the unreliability of the internet puts me in good stead to be like, well, where are they getting this information from? Or what's this based on? Or can I find this article and go actually read it rather than just see the screenshot of the headline or whatever it is? That muscle memory, I think, is really valuable. And I think it is vanishingly rare. And I think that for the most part, people go onto the internet and they don't necessarily have that critical level of like reflection about where this come from, or why someone might post this, or what this veracity might be. And it makes me worried, because unless you're explicitly training people how to do this, it's going to be increasingly hard to tell what is real and what is not real.
Totally.
And
the worst thing we did was tell people to do their own research, as if you can't trust the mainstream media. Do your own research. Don't do your own research. But can I just ask you something on the back of what you just said, Nick? Do you think that this skepticism muscle, it also extends to narratives that are left leaning? Like, do you find your skepticism muscle activating for narratives that exist on the left as well?
It is harder to implement, but I think it's still true. Because often I think when people talk about the left, it's a lot harder to find one narrative quote from the left. I think the right's interpretation of events tends to be more homogenous, and the left can have many different viewpoints. So typically in the news sources that I'm reading or the online spaces I'm inhabiting, I will see both sides of things come up within, theoretically the left sphere, people with different experiences or, expertise. So I find it a little easier to see that than perhaps I would otherwise if I was solely getting information perhaps from like one news source. But these days, I don't even know that there are really that many mainstream left-leaning news sources. Like historically, you could point more to like the Washington Post or, that sort of thing. But a lot of them have been bought out. A lot of them are actively shifting, consciously, deliberately shifting to a right-wing readership. Like Jeff Bezos is actively... I don't think it's even the middle. I think explicitly the Washington Post hired a whole bunch of right-wing commentators to spit out much more Bezos-aligned talking points.
Well, Bezos is now aligned with the White House, so it's kind of an extension.
Well, they're all self-interested. Yeah. I mean, so I don't know really. I mean, probably the Guardian skews left, but. Yeah. I think that at this day and age, most of our news has, at the very least, like a centrist tilt. It's very hard to get like a pure, or at least at the same level as say like the New York Times or these big national names. I don't think that I could point to one big national organization that's purely spitting leftist propaganda, if you like.
MSNBC.
I don't read. I don't get MSNBC. When are you seeing MSNBC content?
All the time on YouTube.
No, I don't see any of that shit.
I think it's easier to identify dishonesty on the right just by nature of what they choose to be dishonest about. But I think there is a more subtle dishonesty that exists on the left. And I would say as an example, probably, the initial denying of Biden's mental acuity after that debate, I think there was a little bit of copium going on there. And then as soon as Kamala Harris, who no one really was jazzed about, was the nominee, it was like...
I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. I think there was enthusiasm about her from a perspective of, South Asian, having a female nominee versus Biden having someone younger. I think there was a lot of enthusiasm about that. She wasn't the most leftist option, but I think to say that was that any enthusiasm for her was imagined is not true.
I think it was put on a bit. And look, I think, you can be excited about having a first female South Asian president, but that's not enough. Like, someone's identity is not enough to rally behind. It could be, hey,
that
like,
mean the
cool.
No, but that doesn't mean the excitement about it wasn't real.
I think it was fake because we didn't have another option, and it was either this or Trump. And I don't think she didn't have an Obama groundswell.
I think you're making logical leaps there. I don't think that holds true. I don't think you can say that people weren't excited just because there was no other option. I think that, arguably more people needed to vote for her than she was able to attract. Like there were people who were uncomfortable with her closeness to the Biden presidency when it came to the Israel-Palestine conflicts and these kind of things, or saw her as centrist and that kind of thing. But I don't think that you can say, it was put on because the enthusiasm that was there was not enough. I think that's fallacious.
We can agree to disagree, but I think like her interviews on that campaign trail were terrible.
That doesn't. Yeah, you're talking about two different things here. I'm not arguing that she did a perfect campaign or that she was a perfect candidate, but I don't think that you can just blanket say that people weren't extremely excited when she took over from Biden and became the nominee, didn't see opportunities for representation there that they really resonated with, didn't find problems with her. But I think to pretend that any groundswell behind her was fictional. It was measured. We had data about the turnouts, the polling, about the enthusiasm to vote. It was there. It wasn't enough to win the election.
Yeah, we can agree to disagree. I just think she was in a tough spot because it just feels like a substitute. Imagine if Trump died and then JD Vance is the guy. It's like no one likes JD Vance in the Republican Party. It just feels like, all right, well, we have to. Anyway, we don't have to talk about this too much. I had a thought just while we wrap up this Trump stuff is, first of all, don't you think it's weird that Trump is a blonde guy? He's like a blondie. I just thought that was weird.
What, in terms of just being an airhead?
You don't think of it as maybe it wasn't worth writing down in my notes, but I was just like, it's weird that he's blonde.
Well, I don't know that we know whether or not that hair color is really real anymore anyway.
True. And the other thing was, what was the last movie do you reckon Trump watched and sat all the way through? And do you think he's ever sat through an entire movie? Maybe Birth of a Nation?
I reckon the last movie he watched all the way through was Home Alone 2 because he was in it.
100%.
That was
100%.
it.
Yeah. He's not sitting through that Melania doc.
To be honest, he probably didn't. He didn't watch all the way through. Once his cameo came up, he probably walked out of the cinema.
He just doesn't seem like a movie guy, does he?
Yeah, I don't think he, had thoughts about the depiction of black women in one battle after another. I don't think he's joining the film crit discourse.
No, that by the way, this is coming from my feed on X, but maybe it's this Golden Globe suite that One Battle's had, but it just feels like people are just trying to make this a left-wing propaganda fest, this movie now. It's like,
I mean, every film goes through some sort of backlash when it becomes talked about too much.
Yeah.
I can't believe you're still on X when it's currently generating child pornography. But I
why
guess
I'm on
each
there.
to their own.
Where else am I going to get it? The dark web?
It's just so much easier to do it in a, state-sanctioned app. Yeah. Well, we should move quickly along from that. Thank you so much for listening, and we hope you enjoyed the episode. It's nice to be back for 2026. We hope you had a good break and some restful time before the world resumed its normal cadence. If you would like to listen to more episodes, if you want to go back and listen to our wrap-up of last year, or indeed our Christmas episode, please scroll down that podcast feed, pick one out. We promise you'll enjoy it. You can rate us on Spotify. You can rate us on Apple Podcasts. You can send your questions, comments, and thoughts to deepthought@gmail.com. And find us on Instagram, listen to our Christmas album on Spotify. And just generally make a resolution to stick it out at the gym.
Yeah, good stuff. Now, usually we do a little reflection on the year in our post-Christmas ep, and we didn't do that this year, which is fine. I'm over it. But I thought, this is still the second episode of the year or the first?
It's the first episode of the year.
Perfect. Yeah. Perfect. Well, in spirit of going into a new year, I've put together a list of ins and outs, hots or nots for 2026.
Okay. And we are the first podcast hosted by two guys to go through and just list what's in and what's out.
Well, I know that you're being facetious when you say that, but by the end of this list, you won't be saying that this is like any other hot or not list that you've ever heard. Okay?
Okay, I'm ready. I'm prepared. Yep.
So I might do a little jingle for this for
Please.
you.
In and out. In and out. That's what
This podcast.
burgers all about.
So ins and outs for 2026. Here we go. In,
Love it.
manspreading.
Okay.
Out,
Okay.
blowing your nose. Blowing your nose is out. In,
Wait, do we get to comment on any of these?
you can if you want.
What are you meant to do if you can't blow your nose? Why is it out?
It's not my problem. It's not my problem.
In is just letting it dribble down your mustache.
This is not my preferences. This is just what's
Just
in
society.
the zeitgeist. It's the zeitgeist
Yeah.
that determines it. In, seeing movies in 2D.
Okay.
Out, Netflix and chill. Netflix and chill is out.
Okay. In, going to the movies and chill. Jerking off in the back row.
Make your own list. In, short shorts. Short shorts are back, baby.
Hey,
Out,
yes.
activewear.
Oh.
Sorry. Looking at you, Lululemon.
Oh no.
In,
Did you say that like Trump's worn Lululemon?
I think I always say things with a little bit of Trump spice
Lulu.
in them. Lululemon. I like a Lululemon. La boo boo Lulu. In, running inside. Running inside is in. Out, running outside. Running
that seems
outside. Just run
self-explanatory.
inside.
Yep.
Treadmill. In, Chinese takeaway food.
Ooh,
Back.
yeah.
Out, sushi. Oh, I like sushi.
Oh no. This must be sad for you to discover this.
I'm learning live with you guys. In, pancetta. Out, ham. Ham's out.
I thought you were going to say prosciutto's out.
No, I said.
Oh, thank God.
I mean, maybe it's further down the list, but
Okay. It doesn't sound like it.
in outdoor wear, like a Kathmandu or a North Face.
Right.
That's in.
So outdoor wear is in, but active wear is out?
Very different. Very different.
Okay. Yep.
Kathmandu, your North Face,
Patagonias,
your Columbia. That's in. Very cool.
Okay.
Out pilots. Yeah.
Pilots?
I don't know why.
As
I
in
like pilots. The
plane-
bus drivers
the
of the
plane
sky.
series.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But they're out, unfortunately.
Gosh.
In, cactuses.
Okay.
Out, monsteras.
Well, that's due. That's been a long time coming, actually.
Bit too basic. In,
Yeah.
and this might surprise you, pens. Pens are back.
Pens are in.
Biro.
Pens are back.
The good old-fashioned biro.
Can I pause here just briefly? You know what I found when we were in Melbourne? We were wandering around town. We went, we had time to kill. We were going to museums. We were shopping. We were in the malls. A lot of stationery shops. Lot of stationery
We
shops.
love the stationary state, they say.
I've heard that. A lot of like fountain pens, a lot of buy your inks, a lot of letters with wax stamps.
Yeah.
Like there's a big push for this kind of thing. And I'm not gonna lie, I wandered around and I thought this is nice, but I also don't use a pen and paper. But I was tempted. It's nice.
I mean, I think you will be by the end of this year because they're back.
Apparently they're back. Yep. In is pens.
In is pens. Out is signatures. Signatures are out. I like that one, actually.
Yeah.
In, saying the word, and out, being woke, baby. Woke is out. Death to work. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a shame.
I'm just reading this. Don't shoot the messenger.
So who wrote this?
I'm just reading it off. It's like a poll, maybe, or it's the
a
government
poll.
website. I think it's a government.
This is from the government. The government has dictated what is in and
This
out.
is universal. Everyone's agreed on this, I think.
The United Nations put this list out.
In, recycling.
Oh, good.
That's good
That's
for the
nice.
environment,
That's
isn't it?
good.
Out, not squeezing the last bit of toothpaste. Just throw it away, even if you got
Now
a
we're
little
talking.
left.
Wait. Out is not squeezing. So in is squeezing. In is finish the rest of the tube.
No. I don't. Okay, now I'm
Well, you're just
confused.
reading Michael, you don't get to have an opinion on it. You're just reading the list.
Yeah.
So out is not squeezing. So what's in is finishing the tube. Okay, got it.
No, I think that's wrong.
Well, you're just
No.
reading the list, Michael. You don't get to have opinions about this. This
I
is
think
from
I wrote
the
that.
UN.
No, I think I wrote that one. I think I wrote.
Oh, you think you wrote that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So out is don't squeeze the last bit of the toothpaste. Just throw it away. Buy a new tube.
So do
Be
you
wasteful.
work for the government now? Is that what's happened?
No, I'm just on the board. In is closing apps on your phone to save the battery, even though you know it doesn't do anything.
False. Wrong. Don't do it.
That's in.
It's
No,
not.
I know that it doesn't work, but
I'm
I do
also
it anyway.
part of the government.
Because I feel like I'm cooling my phone when I do it.
It's not how it works. Your phone doesn't need to
Placebo.
do that. Just leave it there.
Placebo. Not your list. Out.
Take your
LinkedIn.
medication.
LinkedIn is out.
I don't
Goodbye.
have arguments with that.
In, French exits. I love a French
Okay.
exit.
This is also an Irish goodbye, isn't it? Same idea.
Depending on the continent.
Have we ever worked
'cause
out
they're on
why the
different
Irish
continents.
and the French have such similar, mechanisms for leaving parties?
Just very rude people. Just very
Okay.
famously very rude. And the Irish are drunks, so they're
Okay.
they're probably being escorted out by security. Which is
Cool.
very-
Racism
okay, chance.
in.
No spoilers. Out, bands that are named after mundane objects.
Okay. What about bands that are named after like strange surfaces on the moon or, planetary objects, that kind of thing?
I believe that's in.
Okay.
In, saying we should do this again.
Oh, that's nice.
Out, doing it again.
Oh, so it's just about the image, not about the follow through.
No follow through. In, cops.
Oh, I didn't
police
expect that
force.
one. Oh,
Yeah, contentious. Out, my sexuality. Wait.
what? That
that's not-
seems very
it's not meant
specific
to
for
be
the
there.
UN to put out.
That was meant to be in. Let's see. Last couple here. Actually, last one. In, drum roll,
Drum rolls are in.
Judaism is in,
Okay.
the religion, and out,
Uh-oh.
slavery. No more slavery in 2026.
Okay. Well,
Applause, hold for applause. So that's
Interesting-
the
Interesting
official
list. Yeah.
UN list of ins and outs
Yeah.
for 2026, and we'll put that up in the chapter.
That'll be on
notes.
Instagram. Yeah, that'll be shareable.
Yeah. So yeah.
Oh, well,
I
thank
guess
you.
that's the episode.
Yeah. Good fun.
Thought it might have ended with a bit more laughter from
That's all
you.
Let's do this again sometime.
I'd love to. I'd love to. Same time, same place.
I don't want to commit to an actual event.
No.